community.
Shoulder surgery.
Welcome, everybody, to this Monday, August 25th, 2025 meeting of the City of Savage Parks, Recreation, and Natural Resources Commission. I call this meeting to order. Katie, would you like to call roll?
Sure. Chair Sorensen,
Here.
Commissioner Heineman,
Here.
Lund,
Here.
Peterson,
Here.
Scheer,
Here.
Sjogren,
Here.
Strayer,
Here.
Mason,
Here.
and Chow.
Here.
All right, we will stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, you all have the agenda in front of you. Are there any additions to the agenda for tonight?
Nothing from staff, Chair.
Can I have a motion to approve the agenda
Motion to approve the agenda, Strayer.
and a second?
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? We have approved the agenda for tonight. You also received the minutes from our last meeting from May 27th, 2025. Does anyone have any additions or corrections to those minutes? All right, can I have a motion to approve the minutes?
Motion to approve, Heineman.
And a second?
Shear. Second.
All those in favor of approving those minutes say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Minutes are approved. First on the docket for tonight is a recap of the summer 2025 program offerings and preview upcoming recreation services for fall and winter 2025. And I will turn it over to you, Mr. Boatman.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Commissioners, good evening. Welcome back. Haven't seen you in a couple months, but actually I've seen lots of you out in the park, so I think that's a great thing. Tonight with me, I have our Recreation Services Manager, Chris Dill, who is sitting over at the staff table, and our Administrative Assistant, Katie Levenick, in Parks and Recreation. So what we're going to do tonight is we're going to kind of tag team a presentation. This is going to become an annual thing that we're going to do for you here in August. We kind of look at this as the end of the season, end of summer, turning over a new leaf into fall, sorry for the pun, getting back to school, what you might have it. This is really our time of when our end of our major year ends for all of our programming and our facility uses. In May, you received a presentation on the Sports Center. So every May, we will be coming back to you and giving you a Sports Center presentation. That is our intention, is to get that on the calendar on a regular basis. So in May, you'll get Sports Center, kind of recap how the year went, what our plans for the next year are. In August, you'll get Parks and Recreation and Facilities update. And then hopefully, right now, we don't have our Natural Resources Coordinator in place. That position is vacant. Jonah, our wonderful Natural Resources Coordinator, flew the coop and went to Hawaii. He and his family relocated to Hawaii, so that's very exciting for him. We are in the process of hiring our new Natural Resources Coordinator. Hopefully then, when that person's in place, both that person and Jesse Carlson, our Water Resources Manager, will also come and give you more of a robust natural resources update in August or September. We'll kind of figure that out as the time goes along. But tonight, we wanted to give you kind of a recap or a season end of all of our programs and facilities and a little bit on natural resources, and then we'll stand for questions. But like I said, Chris, Katie, and I will be working together on giving you this presentation. So we're going to start off with recreation. Please take real close notes, actually a close note to the slides. Katie is the one who put this PowerPoint together, so you're going to see lots of great slides and much more artistic flair than when you see my presentations. And you do have a printout in front of you tonight for notes, as well as so that you can read along if you need be. So we're going to start off with our active adult programming, things that we do for adults. And I'm going to let Chris kind of give you a lowdown on some of our leagues that we offer.
Yeah, thank you, Greg. Madam Chair and Commissioners, we offer cornhole and bags for our adult leagues. The cornhole league actually has picked up a little more steam. We had a few more teams enter this fall, so Dan created a 12-team schedule, which was more than last fall, and that's played at Community Park on Thursday nights. And then the bocce league, you may recall, was at Community Park where the pickleball courts are. We relocated those courts there now at Schroeder's Acres, and that is still very popular with 12 teams for that league as well. That league is on Wednesdays.
And that's some of the greatest displays of recreational sports you've ever seen. I played in that league this year, and it was really a lot of fun. Really a lot of fun.
It's not quite there yet.
It's not quite there yet. But we do have a commissioner who participates in our bags leagues, Commissioner Shear.
Yes,
And-
we are
and-
Team Cornholio.
It's a Team Cornholio. I like that.
Holio? No, we have a blast.
How was your team this year?
Pretty decent.
Pretty decent.
I've improved. My husband's always been good. I've been improving.
So you
The
can,
anchor.
if you have questions about any of our adult leagues, you do have people who actively participate in those leagues in the room tonight. So if you have questions about them or whatever, you can ask them at the end. Moving on, we've got some more things going on with pickleball. Chris.
Pickleball. Pickleball is still going very strong. We have our tournament coming up in October. You'll see some more information on that. The past tournament in June was, again, very successful. Dan does a great job. I can't say enough how much he's really puts into pickleball. If you ever get the opportunity, if you want to learn how to play pickleball, Dan's your man, and he will give you as much time as you need. So,
Katie, do you want to give us a little recap on your graphic that you put in here for us?
Sure, yeah, unless Chris had more to say. But yeah, this is just a comparison of 2024 for the Dan Patch Pickleball Tournament to 2025. So as you can see, it's pretty on par for registration as far as where we were for 2024 and 2025. Unfortunately, weather did impact 2025 this year. So although registration was great, the weather was not so great on Saturday for the tournament. So many of the matches did end up getting canceled. But otherwise, it did have a good turnout on paper. So that's fun to see as well. But like Chris said, pickleball is going strong, very much so in Savage.
Chris, you want to talk about our lessons and some of the other pickleball programs?
sure. Dan also teaches. He's a teaching pro. So he will teach some classes throughout the summer. This particular summer, he did offer intro to pickleball for people wanting to learn. And then next step, so after you take the first class, you're getting better, so you can take that class. And then the final one was drive and drop your way into cooking in the kitchen court. So our camp, the kitchen, you may know, is the short area between the net and the first line. So that's called the kitchen. That's more technical. That's for more of your advanced play. And so this year we had 12 participants amongst the others. So we'll take a look at those, reevaluate, and see if we either need to change something up or maybe put it to sleep for a little bit and see if the interest is there or not. The mix, Fridays, it's very popular. It's mixed doubles, and that's run through May through June. We had 26 participants, and that's 50-plus age. And they're paired up amongst your skill level, so you play somebody similar to you, and then he'll do a rotation with a deck of cards, as Mr. Boatman has experienced. Actually, Greg, you can probably explain the card more than I can.
Sure. So what they do is they draw, he gives you, there's 4 kings, 4 queens, 4 jacks, 4 tens, and so on. And depending on the number of pairs that you can make up, you go draw a card, all right? So I'm going to draw, and I draw a jack. Chris draws a jack, so we're teammates. Katie and Kevin, Commissioner Chow, they draw jacks, and so we play them, okay? The kings, that's the key. You want to stay on that court. It's called Kings of the Court or King's Court, whatever. So if in the Jacks game, if we win, we move up to the Queen's Court. The loser of the Queen's Court moves down. And so then whoever wins moves up, whoever loses moves down. So that way you get a chance to play everybody. Skill level does kind of ultimately balance itself out so that the kings and queens and jacks, maybe the more advanced players, are playing a little bit, and those that are the 10s, 9s, 8s. And then you come down and play me down at the 2s, because that's where I usually end up. But it's a great way to get out. You meet new people and you test your pickleball skills. And quite honestly, it's really fun. People have a blast with it. So it's one of those great ways to do it more informally. We do have our sign up so that we do know how many people are coming and can plan a little bit. But it's really what it's designed as a mixer. You get to know all kinds of people.
And if I can, real quick, commissioners and Chair Sorensen, speak to the statistics on that slide as well. All the numbers that you're going to see before you come from our system that we use for recreation. It is called RecTrack. It comes from Vermont Systems. And I know Chris and Greg could speak to that system more than I can, but I spend pretty much my entire day in it every day. So all of the numbers that you'll see in front of you are coming from RecTrack. But what that doesn't reflect is that like human element or the person element, because recreation is built off relationships, and the work that we do is built off relationships. And so even though it says 4 classes held, we know that Dan is on the regular doing one-on-one classes or doing things with people on the side. And 12 participants doesn't necessarily reflect what he does in the work that he is doing constantly. So we just wanted to admire that as well as we speak to the work that we do with pickleball and the numbers that you'll see, because that human element isn't necessarily reflected.
Right, and I think Katie nailed it on the head. When you're talking programming, that's what the numbers tell us, but the numbers don't tell the whole story. If you go out there tonight, oh my gosh, I would guess there's probably going to be 100 to 150 people on those courts. It's gorgeous out. People want to play, so they go out and play. Excuse me. All right, Savage Recycle Day, I'll take this one. While not necessarily a recreation program, it happens in one of our parks, and it is run by some of our staff in Public Works, so I wanted to share a little bit about that with you. This report was given to us by Jared Hallberg, our our Public Works Street Maintenance Supervisor. We had approximately 160 cars, trucks and trailers. You can see a bunch of other statistics on your report in front of you. But really the design of this is to allow people in Savage an opportunity to clean out their garages, their houses, their basements, their attics, and get rid of their stuff. While a great service for homeowners and residents of our community, it also serves our entire community well. It helps keep down dumping in our parks. It helps keep down illegal dumping of trash. We recycle things at this event. It also keeps our homes in better shape, allowing people to be able to, at no cost or low cost, get rid of items out of your home very conveniently. During the COVID years, when we were not able to have this event, we were concerned about increase in dumping in our parks, and we did see that. Now that we've had this event, it's back down to regular dumping in our parks, not in the increase that we normally saw. Any questions on Savage Recycling Day? It's a cool event. If you haven't participated, we encourage you to do so. That usually happens in May every year or right around that time. Always seems to occur on the same day we're taking the dome down too, or close to it. But again, this year we moved it out of Community Park and over to Public Works. That worked out really well for us. We have our Memorial Tree and Bench program, our Memorial Bench and Tree program, as it says here. If you have not seen some of our memorial benches, there's a great picture of it represented here. They are all throughout our park system. There's quite a few at Community Park. But the memorial benches, we're having 5 installed yet this summer. Some have already been installed, some are going to be installed, and then we are also doing a lot of replacements from back when the tornado went through a couple years ago, as well as a few that got damaged along the way. So some of them are at Hidden Valley, Creek Hill Park. We have at our brand new park out there, O'Connell Park, and then we're putting 2 new benches up here at the library next to the Peace Pole location there. Those 2 benches were paid for by the Savage Rotary and their program in collaboration with other Rotaries, as well as Rotary International and the City of Savage. So we've got a bunch of new benches coming in. And we have a new memorial tree being planted and sometime in September, October, whenever good planting time comes, out at Creek Hill Park. Those memorial benches, And trees, not as much of the trees, but the benches, you can go and see on the plaque, it'll say in memory of. And many of our benches also have a QR code somewhere on the bench that you can zap with your phone and read about that person a little bit more. We leave that up to the family or the people who have purchased that bench. So it's not just a name on a bench. And if that's what you want to sit on their bench, great. But if you want to learn more about that person, you have the opportunity to do so. We think that's a pretty neat way to honor the people who are memorializing our bench. Just so you know, the one at O'Connell Park was in memory of the former firefighter from Savage who was killed in the line of duty during service for the city of Burnsville. Any questions on our memorial bench and tree program? Arbor Day tree sales, I'll take this one too. Arbor Day is one of our programs that we kind of look at as a natural resource / parks and recreation type program. We believe that we are very honored and we believe that we want to keep up our Tree City USA designation. We've had that ongoing for many, many decades here in Savage. And Katie, do you want to talk a little bit about the numbers here?
Yes, I was able to pull the numbers from last year, 2024, and we sold a total of 321 trees last year, and we had an increase for this year in 2025 to 345 trees sold this year. So more trees planted on the earth making a big difference. So.
And this program is where we buy the trees wholesale, and then we are able to pass along that same cost to the residents. There's no markup, there's nothing. It is total service to the residents. Our intention is to reforest our urban forest here in Savage. South of the river, recreators is our next topic, and I'm going to turn that over to Chris to talk a little bit about what is SOAR and what do we do with them.
So SOAR has been around a very long time. It's probably going on 30 plus years. The idea behind it was at the time, a lot of the south cities south of the river were smaller. And so a combination of Savage, Burnsville, Apple Valley, Egan, Rosemont, and Farmington started doing joint projects to try to, if somebody wanted to have a kickball league, they knew they would have to pull in other people from other cities. And so they all got together and they said, okay, let's work together, let's not compete. And so the idea with SOAR is, and it still stands today, is we all work with one another to the point where Lakeville runs a soccer league. Well, we're going to help them promote it. We'll stick it in our brochure. If we get a Savage team interested, we'll send them over to Lakeville so they can have their soccer league. And so it's taken on a number of different faces throughout the years. Now people are getting to the point where we don't necessarily need to rely on each other from a programming standpoint, more informational and working with one another. But yes, we still do a handful of programs and work together on various things. And so the summer programming is soccer, kickball, and a ground pounders running race, which we no longer are part of that. Now we've kind of moved our series into a different event. But we still send staff to some of these activities. They'll send staff to us if we need help. So it's a great program. It's worked well over a long time.
Collaboration, efficiency, wise use of government funding. We try to use our smarts when we're doing these types of programs. Any questions on SOAR programs or the things that we do there? Seeing none, I'll keep going here. We work more in collaboration. We're offering CPR and first aid classes with the Savage Fire Department. Katie, you want to talk a little bit about those numbers?
Sure, yep. In March, they had a class and they had 6 in attendance, and as well in June, had 6 in attendance. Currently, they have 2 classes coming up, and as you can see, the attendance is going up. And I actually believe for September, there were a few more that registered even today, so that number might not even be correct. It could be a little bit higher. December, nobody is thinking about December yet, I hope. So I assume that number will go up. But for those who are thinking about December and worrying about CPR for December, I would recommend signing up for that class if you are interested.
And the picture on the slide here is actually one of our seasonal staff. Chris, do all of our seasonal staff go through CPR first aid training?
Yes.
So every staff member that we hire seasonally will get trained by our Savage Fire Department as well. So that's a service that we offer for all of our program staff, not only as a benefit to them personally, but to a benefit as a staff member working in our programs. So we think that's a really good benefit.
I ask a question?
Absolutely.
Where, is this at one of the fire stations, or where is that?
Yes. Station 1, I believe. Yep.
Which one is that?
The one that's over by McHugh's off of 42.
Yep.
Fine.
One that is being renovated right now, so it may have to take a different location in September, but mostly they take place at the big station, which is Fire Station number 1.
Okay.
Great. So what's coming up for our active adults? We're going to do this in sections. We're talking about all of our active adult programmings. Here's what's coming up next. We've got some Friday AM friendly doubles mixer. Katie, you want to talk a little bit about the details that you put on here?
Sure, yes. So earlier you saw that we had an offering of this same program in the spring and had a great turnout for that. And now we have this similar program again in the fall. Currently, there is a registration of 21 and we have a capacity of this for 24. So if you're interested in registering for this class, I'd recommend doing it very soon. You can see the information there. You can call me on the phone tomorrow if you're interested in getting signed up. I can help you out. As well as there's more pickleball. This whole slide is dedicated to pickleball. So Pickleball 101, for those who, like myself, have never played pickleball and are interested in learning more, you can sign up to learn from Dan, our expert, about pickleball there. For those of you who do know how to play pickleball and want to test your skills, there's the pickleball tournament coming up in the beginning of October as well. So we'll be doing that again, and there's some teams already signing up for that. So all of these events should be well stocked with some good people ready to play.
Our pickleball tournament is very busy. Chris and Dan spend their entire weekend at Community Park. And so I'm going to look at you commissioners and say, if you want to learn about pickleball and get a crash course lesson in how to run a tournament, we welcome you to volunteer with us. It would be kind of cool so you can see firsthand. Come on out and join us. We'd love to have you. You can help write names on the board and report scores. Chris knows that it is an intense day when you've got players saying, I want to report my score, and you're trying to write down everything. The more hands on deck, the better. So come on out and join us if you'd like. Give us a call if you are interested in volunteering in October. Chris, you want to talk about our history tour of Savage? You know a little bit about this one.
So our former mayor, Janet Williams, started this probably 4 or 5 years ago. Given that she was born and raised here, she knows a little bit about Savage. Her and the Historical Society get together and they do a bus tour. This year's tour is September 20th. They will be meeting at the Savage Library. It's from 10 to noon. They'll be hitting the Savage Fen, Camp Savage, Boiling Springs, the Depot, Hidden Valley Park, and then of course back at the library. Our max is about 25, but so there is interest, so we may actually look at getting a bigger bus. So please register or spread the word, because we can certainly use more people if we're going to fill a big bus, a coach bus. So the deadline is September 14th.
If I could encourage you at all, commissioners, if you have any interest in the history of Savage, it is a fantastic tour. You'll learn lots of things, and it's way more than just Dan Patch. You'll learn more than just about the horse. There's lots to go on. Chris, you're up next. Let's talk about what's happening in our dome this winter for adult leagues.
So we have a very popular softball league that can really only run November and December on Wednesdays in the dome. It's sort of it was a slower time of the year, so we started this league. And it's taken off. I think we've maybe have had the exact same 8 teams every year except one, because we can only have 8 teams because we only have 2 fields. So it's the same teams. They register every year, and it's silly, but it's fun. They like it because obviously you can hit the dome physically, the structure. So they like doing that. But it's a good league. They have fun. It's easy. Dan runs the league on Wednesdays, so it goes November through December.
Talk about the ball they use. They're not using the original softball.
They do use a restricted flight ball that it's restricted, but you can still hit it pretty good. So.
But when it hits things, it doesn't necessarily break them. It's much softer.
A little squishy.
It's a really squishy ball. Not like a Nerf ball, but it still works. And the players love it. So this came out of, like Chris said, some downtime, some creative use of the dome space, and getting our adults another opportunity to stay active and recreate. So that's our active adult recreation programming. We'll head into our youth programs now. And again, this is going to be the Chris and Katie show. So I will turn it over to them to talk about some of the things we do. Oh, as a note, our Savage Sports Center programs, Chris gave you an update on many of our youth programs and youth offerings over there back in May. So refer back to that presentation. We're not going to go into those in details tonight. Go ahead, Chris.
What do you want to do?
Moving on.
Your numbers?
You can talk about Pee Wee soccer.
So we offer lots of programs for little ones. So these first few slides are going to talk about the littlest ones that we have programs for. So these are ages 3 to 5. And so we have a Pee Wee soccer program. This happened, the first one was in winter and it began in January. And there was 7 participants and that happens in the Dome. And then there is also one that takes place in the summer as a camp. And there were 23 participants in that this summer. And they had a great time. I heard from a lot of parents about the fun that they were having out there running around. And if you have seen 3 and 4 and 5-year-olds play soccer, it is awesome. T-ball is also something that we offer in the summer. And so there were 10 participants for that. Obviously, soccer is the more popular, but whichever way gets the energy out, I think is great for parents. As a parent of young kids, I agree. And then summer camp, we also offer Tiny Tots that takes place in the mornings at O'Connell Park. It's a 7-week camp. Most of our camps are 7 weeks long and had an average of 10 participants for that.
Chris, can you give us a little background on the philosophy of our Pee Wee sports camps and why we run them?
Sure. So many, many years ago, when I had hair, we were looking for something for the younger kids to learn the basics. And so I started a program called Pee Wee Sports, which it was young kids. They could just learn soccer, t-ball, which one they had the interest in, and then mom or dad could sign them up in the future for whatever program they thought they had interest in. So Pee Wee soccer has been around for a long time. Basically just learning the game, what's their interest, are they gonna sit and just pick dandelions, or do they actually get involved with it? So very simple. If they have the interest, then they can move on to a soccer and or t-ball.
And how about our Tiny Tots camp? Talk a little bit about what that is and why we run it.
Sure. So Tiny Tots is as similar as a playground program. Kids will go there. Like Katie said, in the mornings, 9 to noon. Staff they'll play on the playground. They'll do crafts, games, and things like that. It's very simple. Each week has a different theme for every program. Tiny Tots Playgrounds, it's all the same theme. At least it gives the kids, one of them is Water Week. So for that week, they do water activities, water balloons and stuff like that. So this particular one is just for younger kids. So that's why it's only in the mornings.
And one of the philosophies we have is that Tiny Tots camp gives young kids that maybe first exposure away from parents with young adults as leaders, kind of a preschool-y, not preschool, but preschool-like concept where they're getting out and trying new things and getting to interact socially, have fun, get the energy out. When you hear about programs like that, I want to make it very clear to you, commissioners, these are not child care programs. They're not designed as child care. We don't run like a child care. However, if our camps provide care for families, that works for us. Does that make sense? So when parents come and say, with the little guys, it's a short camp, it doesn't really matter. As we talk about our older kids' camps, those go longer throughout the day. You didn't put sunscreen on my kid and whatever. Well, we don't, because we're not childcare. There's so many reasons why we don't put sunscreen on kids, for 100 that I can think of off the top of my head. But we don't, because we're not that childcare. If you're looking for that option, that's why they cost what they do. Why our programs can remain at the cost that they are is because we want that opportunity for all kids to go and recreate and have fun. So giving you a little bit of background as we start moving into our little bit older kid programs here, and I'll let Chris and Katie take it from here and talk a little bit about our programs. So Chris, do you want to start off with Playground Pals?
Okay, so Playground Pals is similar to Tiny Tots, but like Greg said, it is older kids. It is, again, another 7-week program. This particular program, we do allow, you can either just sign up for the morning or just sign up for the afternoon, or you can do it all day. We do get quite a few people who want to do the all-day, kick Bobby or Cindy out of the house so I can go do my chores. They're gone all day, and then they are there. But we do get good numbers for playgrounds. Again, similar. They have a theme every week. They'll transition to Water Week to Save a Hero the following week. So Adventure Camp is a little more, by far it's our busiest and most attractive camp. It's held at the Savage Sports Center, so there are indoor restrooms, which is huge. And of course, there's the turf. People love playing on the turf. It doesn't matter if they're just standing there, they like being on the turf. This one is a little more structured. They focus on 4 different areas: fun and fitness, athletics, crafts, and then outdoor adventure. So each day they transition to these different sections and participate in that activity. This one does get we max out at 85, and we could certainly take a lot more if we had the room. We don't want to get to that point. Obviously, we would need to hire more staff at that point too. So, but this is by far the most popular program we have.
Katie, in terms of registration for our youth programs that we're talking about between Playground Pals and Community Adventures Camp, would you say it's been pretty consistent over the last year when you were here last year?
Yes, I would say so. And speaking of the popularity, like Chris said, these are very much our popular programs, and Community Adventures Camp specifically. We have a wait list that is 15 persons deep. That's how the capacity of it, and all of these camps meet those. Community Adventures Camp specifically is always at that wait list capacity, and a big part of my summer role is moving that wait list around as people figure out their summer plans and maybe cancel a week, and then I'm calling families trying to fill that 85th spot. So it is a popular camp, and people want to be there. So it's very popular, and as a parent who sends her kids to this camp, I can tell you that turf is popular, and now there are pieces of it all over my house. So it's great.
Speak about the days before registration. Are parents calling you and talking to you about registering for camps, and what are some of your stories you know about registering for camps?
A lot of the calls we get before camp registration opens are about preparation for that registration process, getting their accounts ready for the process. Those are always the best calls we get because they know that when they do log in, it's all going to go smooth and they can just be registered. A lot of the panic calls the day after are that somebody's birthday wasn't entered correctly and they couldn't register. Because all of our programs are based off of age. So if you don't have a birthday entered, it isn't going to let you register for a program. And so there is a lot of those kinds of calls the day after. This year, our programs went very smoothly thanks to our communications team. They put together a video of how to register for our programs and how to set up an account, and those live on our registration page right there in the center. So I think that helped with a lot of our traffic this year. But from what I hear as a parent in the community, there are groups of parents that will stay up until midnight that night and get ready to register, and they just keep hitting refresh on their computer to make sure that their kids can go to Community Adventures Camp with the City of Savage.
Chris, we're moving on to Fabulous Fridays.
Well, I'm sorry if I may ask a question of either Katie or Chris about the Adventure Camp. What hours does that run?
That's an 8 to 4.
8 to 4. So that's what we consider the all-day, 8 to 4. No, that's good. That's better than many of the others. And how many weeks?
7 weeks.
7 full weeks. And people can register. You have to register for the entire 7?
No, you can do it
You can
week by
register
week.
1 week at a time.
Yep, week
All
by
right.
week if you wish, or all of them. Yep.
That's great. And what ages on that?
Grades 1 through 5,
1 through 5.
entering in the fall. Yep.
All right, we're moving on to Fabulous Fridays. Chris.
Fabulous Fridays is generally focused on a field trip. It is a mixture of playing games once you get there. Field trips usually leave about 9 or 10. And so kids will get there, they'll play for a little bit, jump on a bus, and usually go, as you can see, Valley Fair or the zoo, a number of places. And so they can come back. They usually have about a half hour or so, and they just play again. So this is generally focused on just the field trip for the day.
Katie, how are our numbers this year?
Numbers were strong as usual. All the programs, a lot of them were at capacity as well with a wait list. Some of the lower ones were just the ones that didn't have the big wow factor. Like Valley Fair, of course, is wow, that's exciting. You get to ride a roller coaster. But either way, all of them are great programs and they're fun for the kids who go. There's great stories I get to hear from the parents when they call and tell me how much fun their kid had playing kickball against a police officer and things like that. So, yes. Oh, there's a question.
Oh,
Commissioner Peterson?
Yes, thank you. Just curious, when I see some, I think of 1 to 5, those are still youngish kids, and then I see some of these numbers. How many, what is the staff to kid ratio, or does it vary?
So if I heard you correctly, it's actually first grade through fifth grade, not one.
Yeah, I'm sorry, yeah.
Okay.
Sorry, yeah, sorry.
We have, generally speaking, it's 1 to 10. Staff to kid ratio.
Just curious, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
and like we said, if we provide childcare for a family, that's awesome, but we are not childcare. We are park and rec programs. Kids who are coming to these programs, again, if they, we want to give them that opportunity to show some autonomy, to learn how to go on a field trip, to learn what it means to ride a bus, how to behave in a group. A lot of what we do isn't just about going to Valley Fair. It's about building that social skills and those interacting skills with young adults and a bus driver and the staff at Valley Fair and so on. So we give them a little bit more autonomy than what they do in a childcare or school setting. They have their place, and those are great. I'm not disparaging them. They're just different than what we do in Park and Rec. Moving on here, we've got some specific skateboard stuff. Chris, let's talk about our skateboard stuff.
Sure. So we work with a company called Third Layer Skate Park is what they're called. We contract with them. They come out with their staff. And what we do for Dan Patch Days is we have a free skills clinic. Kids can show up for about an hour or so, and they can learn different tricks from the staff. And then we'll move into a competition. Later on, it's more of your elite skaters, if you will, but they certainly do break it down by division. We even had older people, 45-year-old gentlemen, who did very well, but it's for all ages. And the Third Layer camp that we just held, it's a little more expensive. It is $200 per child, but we did get 8 participants, and that was for a week.
And then I will talk about our Latchkey program. Our Latchkey is in collaboration with our Savage Police and Fire Department. I don't know if you saw any of the advertisements that were done, but they got highlighted on Fox 9, local news, talking about our Latchkey program, which is a program designed to teach young kids how to be home by themselves when it's actually legally okay for them to be home alone. Certainly up to parents to make that decision when their children get to stay home alone. But what do you do if an emergency comes up? What do you do if you can't get in your house? What do you do if there's a fire? What do you do? What do you do? What do you do? And our police and fire department, our staff there are so awesome with kids. In terms of teaching them, they went like gangbusters this year and filled up very quickly. The local news advertisement helped a lot, but Jackie from our police department, who is our school resource officer, as well as John Burrow, our fire chief, who does leads most of our public education, they work collaboratively together to run our Latchkey program. We participated and helped them out by taking registrations for them, and we may even next year begin to help them out a little more in terms of how to manage large numbers of kids. Our staff are very skilled in that area. Police and fire. There may have been a kid that got thrown in handcuffs. No, I'm kidding. I'm just kidding. All right, so that was our youth programs for the summer. For the family, and as you notice, there really isn't an upcoming slide here for youth programs because kids are going to school. And so we don't have a lot offering in the fall for kids. But for the family, we've got some things that we did already this summer. So let's talk a little bit about some of the things, actually summer and winter. Let's talk about those things. Chris, do you want to talk about that?
Sure, we have the glow and skate party, very simple, glow sticks, and it's obviously darker. And then Dan will have snacks and things like that on site. They'll do little activities and so forth. Just make it more interesting to skate than just skating around in a circle. Rinks this year, just to plant the seed with you, we are going to spend a little more time and collecting data. We're going to work with Andy Weldon, our assistant superintendent, and really track time and expenses on what it takes to do the rinks. Currently, we will be offering the same rinks that we have in the past, Canterbury, O'Connell, Trost, and Woodhill. So what we'd like to do is maybe get the information and maybe reduce a rink or two, depending on what the numbers are like. We haven't been able to staff the warming houses, so Dan created a
QR code.
code. So kids, when they got there, they could click, say they're there, and so we were able to track numbers that way. But we want to get a better idea of how many people are actually getting out to our park skating. Is it worth the expense, or do we just try to focus on 2 rinks, make them awesome, and then go from there? So we'll get that information probably presented to you March or April here in the spring. But yes, if we are not staffed, the lights do go on a timer, so they just automatically go on, and then the warming houses would be closed. But if we do get enough staff, obviously we would staff it regular hours.
So coming up in the spring of this next year, late winter, early spring next year, we'll be coming to you with a plan for, as Chris said, for the following skating season. So we want to get ahead of it, get out early to you, get you a chance to digest it, give a recommendation to council on where we want to go with our skating rink programs here in Savage. And so then, as Chris said, we have great numbers at some parks, and we get pretty much no numbers at some others. When we have talked about reducing skating rinks, there's a lot of, we get some feedback of, well, don't take my rink away. And there's also the demographic change as kids grow up in a neighborhood and grow out of skating, and are they getting replaced by younger kids that maybe tend to be more active at the skating rinks than the older kids or even families. So more to come. We'll be talking about that. We'll be doing some evaluation and bring it forward to you. More family fun events. Chris or Katie, whoever wants to take this, go right ahead.
Sure. So this spring we had the flashlight egg hunt for those who have been part of that before. This last year we were full. We maxed out on capacity again. So I feel like I'm a broken record at this point. But it's a very popular event. And so had lots of kiddos for that. It is just chaotic when the lights go out and those kids run around with flashlights. So if you've seen that, it's something to see. That is for sure. Community Cleanup Day, that is not something that I necessarily have been at, but I have those numbers for you. I was able to get those for you. So there are 14 locations that groups are assigned to go and help clean up in the spring. And this is in collaboration with Arbor Day in that celebration weekend, which I know Chris can speak to. But there were about 120 participants that weekend that went out and helped clean up parks and different streets, and one of our admin assistants was pretty key in making that happen this year. So.
And then we had our Arbor Day celebration. Chris, talk a little bit about the content of that celebration.
Yeah, so in conjunction with the sale of the tree, we had Jonah, as Greg had mentioned before, who moved to Hawaii, but he did a session and talked about
Emerald Ash Borer?
Thank you, Emerald Ash Borer. So he did a session and worked with about, I would say at the time, it was probably about 60 to 70 people on how to treat your trees, what to look for. We also did have a petting zoo there. We came in and walked around with some animals, and then just nature hike. They could go out and look for different trees and basically bingo, if you will. And so just sort of to embrace the Arbor Day theme.
Most of the participants were able to go home with a little seedling that they could plant in their yard as well. So we really try to focus that Arbor Day celebration and all of that around Earth Day time, all of that. So the community cleanup is a really neat event where scout groups, neighborhood groups, interested residents come in and they pick an area, and we help them pick out an area to go clean. We give them the PPE, the garbage bags. They throw everything in the garbage bags. We go around on the following work day and clean everything up and pick everything up. Night to Unite is a time when we work together with our police and fire departments to go out to the community. We just had our Night to Unite on August 5th. Myself and Andy Weldon were in a big plow truck and made it to about 5 or 6 parties. Chris, Dan, and some seasonal staff went out to various parties with us and played games with the residents at their Night to Unite parties. Police, fire, we were at, I think, 53 parties this year throughout the community. The whole goal of the night is to get out and unite as a neighborhood. Get to know your neighbors, get to know your city staff, work together. I mean, we even stopped over at Glendale United Methodist Church. They have a large party there, and our very own Katie Levenick was singing there as part of that church. So it was a fun event to get out and meet members of our community. And let me tell you, these kind of outreach or public engagement events pay dividends huge. Katie mentioned it before. I think you've heard it from me. Everything we do is all about relationships. And so building those relationships of, hey, I saw you at Night to Unite. And many, many, many other stories I could tell you about, hey, I saw you at, can you help me with this information? That's really what we're here for. Treats and tunes. So just a little history on this one for those that may not remember. A couple years ago, we had the issue over at Riverbend Park. And at the time, a group of residents wanted to have a group neighborhood garage sale. And they were worried that people weren't going to come to the garage sale because of the events that occurred at Riverbend Park and the perceived reputation that some people might think that would go on at that park. And they asked, is there any way we can get food trucks or do something? And this was like the day before. And they were asking for all those details. And I said, no, but let's do something. So what we decided to do is go buy a bunch of ice cream and go over there, play some music on the radio or from Spotify, which we have a license for, by the way, and to be able to play music and have people just come and get to know each other. Kind of that same theme as Night to Unite. Well, it went like gangbusters. We never imagined how that program would go. We had people from the senior living facility by the memory care facility. We had people from across the street coming over, kids of all sizes and shapes and colors, residents of all over getting together and eating ice cream and having fun. So we thought, let's do it again. So last year we did our Treats and Tunes program. We started in 2024 because it's 25 right now. So we did a full season where we moved from park to park to park. And we brought our Music in the Park series out from behind the ELC out into the parks. And same concept. We get together for an hour, hand out ice cream, play some fun kid music where people can dance, play games, kick a soccer ball around, play parachute games, play bag toss, whatever, but get to know each other. And then usually after that hour's up, the musicians come. Chris books a variety of different musical acts from kids groups to, this last one was Irish music. We get our biggest group, which is the Panhandlers, which is a steel drum band. If you have not seen them, I highly recommend them. When you hear Sweet Child of Mine by Guns N' Roses played on the steel drums, it's a sight to behold, let me tell you. But it has worked out fantastically. What do you think, guys? 2 to 250 easily each night?
Easily.
Yeah. So we get, and different people. Some people follow us around and go from park to park with us, but it's different groups that come out to their local park. Just last week, 2 weeks ago, we were over at Trost Park, and I was on the microphone announcing that it's called Trost Park, not Trost Park, like many people say it. And I was educating them, saying it's named after a family. The family's name is Trost. And I felt a tap on my shoulder, and I turned around, and there she was, a 90-some-odd-year-old member of the Trost family who lived on that property and remembers her dad donating that land to the city before it was developed. And it was really fun. And multiple generations of the Trost family were there. Just one of the side outcomes of Treats and Tunes. We do have one more coming up here. We'll talk about that and when we talk about our upcoming events. So what's next for families? Here in Savage, we got a whole bunch of stuff. Chris, you want to talk about the Whodunit hike?
Yep, so again, this is a SOAR activity. This is something we all try to promote. It is held in Lakeville at Ritter Farm. It'll be September 6th. It's free to attend. Essentially, Lakeville contracts with somebody to write a mystery story. So when you arrive, you get a slip of paper, and you literally have to find out who done it. So it is obviously kid-friendly. Maybe somebody let the dog outside. Well, who done it? So it is a variety of, the story changes every year. But we do serve light refreshments. We send a staff person, and it's usually it takes everybody about an hour to an hour and a half to complete the trail. And it's very simple. Again, it's a collaboration with the other cities, so it works well.
Treats and Tunes, as I mentioned, is coming up on September 16th. Normally, Treats and Tunes is from 6 to 8, but because we are in the school year and it starts getting darker earlier, yes, I'm sorry, we're at that time of the year, we move it to 5 to 7 p.m., and you can see the asterisks there, but that's directly out of our brochure so that people can see that it is a different time. And we're going to be at Creek Hill Park. We figured we would end up the year getting to celebrate that park. By the way, a little side note from Night to Unite, they had their neighborhood celebration, which hands down by far is usually the largest neighborhood celebration in the entire community. They used to have it in a cul-de-sac. Now they moved it to the park and they were thrilled. I only didn't hear any concerns. People were thrilled about the park. Took a picture of the entire neighborhood all over the playground equipment, so it was pretty neat. So we're going to do our last Treats and Tunes of the 2025 season at Creek Hill Park. Little Fall Festival on Apple Dash is a great program. Go ahead, Commissioner Peterson.
On something, a question on that. With the large numbers you're getting for Treats and Tunes, and a park like that is a neighborhood park. It doesn't have lots of parking, things like that. How is parking being managed for these events, since they are so popular?
Great question, Chair Commissioner Peterson. The answer is, for a one-time event, they're parking all over the place. They're on the streets and all legally parked. So like at Trost, we had a very small parking lot and people were lined up and down the streets. We don't typically do that type of programming at these parks. So one time a year, and we don't do it every year at those parks. We rotate it around. It's a way to get people who don't normally go to those parks to be able to experience them, get the neighbors out to experience their park. But again, with that outcome of just trying to build community, we feel that it's okay to do one time a year a larger program at some of those neighborhood parks. But the parking has not been a problematic. Sure, it's a challenge, and you may have to walk a little ways to get to it, but we encourage people to ride their bikes and walk and such to get to the park if they live close by.
Thank you.
A Little Fall Festival in Apple Dash. This is one that we do in collaboration with Wildflower Early Learning Center, which is the big red barn out on 154th Street right by Murphy Hanrahan Park. And it's coming up here in September. Actually, we did it last year in September. No, that is upcoming. We also did it last year. They came to us several years ago and said, we want to do something collaboratively with you. Recreation Supervisor Dan Bretschneider said, okay, let's do something fun. And so we do it kind of a Halloween fall type theme where they go out and they have lots of programming. They do a little apple run where the kids get to run throughout the farm out there and get a chance to win a little cool prize. And it's just a really fun family event designed for little younger kids. And it's free. Our Halloween Bash, Mr. Dill.
Our Halloween Bash is probably our biggest event from a programming standpoint, from registrations. You do have to register. This year it is October 18th at the Sports Center. We're probably pushing 1,000 people for that program, if not a little more. We have a variety of stuff. In the past, we have had petting zoo, we have inflatables, we have face painting, magicians, the horse and wagon, food trucks, you name it, we have it. So if you haven't been there, I highly recommend at least poking your head in. It is complete organized chaos, but it works. And it's a quick event, it's 5 to 8 p.m.
And we have table sponsors and games?
We do, yep. So we also get communities, organizations that will sponsor. If they're going to sponsor, they have the opportunity to host a table. If they're going to have a table, then they have to do a kid activity. So if an insurance company wants to be a sponsor, they then have to also then provide a game for the participants to play. So it helps us not have to create everything. The sponsors then can create their own activity.
Also coming up this winter season, we'll have our tree lighting ceremony in December. We've been doing that for the last several years now. And talk about a quick event. This one goes really fast, but it's, again, another one of those opportunities to bring the community together around the holiday season, light up a tree out here on City Hall's parking lot, and then in collaboration, Santa Cop or Santa Night, where people can bring Toys for Tots, run by our police department. We do those two events in collaboration with each other. The Secret Holiday Shop. This is Chris Dill's favorite activity of the year. Let me tell you.
Oh, the smile on his face is all.
Oh, the Secret Holiday Shop. You know, it's a simple, easy program. If you're unfamiliar with it, it allows the child to do their own shopping for their family. So the parents can drop them off at the sports center. They'll hang out in the lobby. The child then can walk in the sports center and pick items for whomever they're buying for. We have volunteers, usually from the high school, that will work with the child. They have a list, and they try to pick an item that is convenient or relatively something that they might find of interest. The items are questionable sometimes, depending on what it is, but the kids have fun. They get to pick the item out themselves and surprise whoever they're buying it for, because then the volunteers will wrap it up. But it's a good event.
It's one of those events that Chris and I look at each other every year and say, really? Are we going to do this again? And then after the event, we hear from parents who say, this is the greatest thing in the world. Our kids love it. They look forward to it. They want to buy their dad the world's best dad mug, or that Minion stocking cap that they just think is the greatest thing when they see their mom or dad wearing that on Christmas morning, or grandpa and grandma's wearing whatever. It's really a fun event. We're always looking for volunteers. If you want to go help kids shop, come on out and help us out. Give us a call. We'll give you more information about coming to our secret holiday shop. You can make Chris's Saturday morning just be that much brighter by showing up and helping us.
I have a quick question. Where does the stuff come from? Where does the greatest dad mug come from?
So I don't know that Chris heard you. Where does our stuff for the secret holiday shop come from, Chris?
It's a company called Fun Services.
Okay.
And so we used to actually go and look at the items. Now we've been doing it for so long. They just send us, the items range from $1 to $13, $14, sometimes $15. So we keep it very reasonable. So they just send us a bunch of boxes. Whatever we sell, we pay for. Anything we don't sell, we just return, and we're not responsible for that fee. So it works out nice.
It does. And we do a little bit of a markup on it to help cover some of our program costs, but not as much to make the things cost prohibitive for the kids.
Yeah. I just want to add that I'm always impressed with the number of high school volunteers. I believe it's usually the National Honor Society.
Correct.
And they're required to put in volunteer hours, and it's great to see some of those kids bewildered trying to help the younger ones. And it's really
They actually enjoy it.
really good experience for them. And the Santa is the best. Yeah. Real beard.
Yep.
Oh, yes.
Great. All right. Now that's all of our programming. We're going to move on to our facility rentals, and we'll get talking about here. So as we mentioned before, back in May, you got your report from Chris back in May about the Savage Sports Center. So if you have questions about how the Sports Center performed this last year, refer back to those minutes. If you have any questions specifically, give us a call at the office. We'll help you out there. Or shoot me or Katie an email, and we'll get it to the right people to answer for you. Staff, you want to talk? Go ahead, Chris.
Well, I'll note, the Sports Center does get inflated Friday, October 10th, and then we are scheduled to open Monday, November 3rd. So.
Okay. We have several other facilities that we want to highlight for you today, the ELC, park shelters, and our community gardens. So Chris and Katie, take it away.
Sure. So these are, again, reports from Rec Track, like I said before. And as I ran these reports, especially for the ELC and the park shelters, as I looked at them, I said, oh, that's what I do every day. There it is on paper as I look at these numbers and the names and all the things that come through with these statistics. So this was fun to see for me on a giant spreadsheet as it came through. But the Environmental Learning Center, starting at January 1st up until today, we currently have 340 reservations to date. And those don't show the number of hours of those reservations. It just says of households. So a household reservation. Internally, those are anything that's with the city of Savage or fire or police, those types of reservations. 92 of those were internal, so 92 of the 340. You also see added to that is the self-guided tour reservations. So what that is a lot of times we get a call from someone that says, hey, I just got engaged and I'm thinking about having a wedding reception at the Environmental Learning Center. Can I come see your facility before I drop a lot of money on it? And we say, sure. And what we do is we set up a self-guided tour. And so they book a reservation with me and they are given 30 minutes to kind of go walk around the facility. I gather their information as far as like phone number, name, all this stuff. Give them a key that is programmed. They come back. I answer all of their questions that they have. And then they go from there and then usually call me a day later and make a reservation. So that's typically how that goes. So we've just started tracking that. That's newer for us. So those are our internal reservations. And then external is listed there as well. So those are anything that is not within the city of Savage. And we do have a number listed there for revenue. That was a quick addition at the end of the day. So it may not be exact down to the right penny, but you can see that number there as well. And then, so that's the Environmental Learning Center.
I'm going to jump in for a second, Katie.
Please do.
Those reservations, those 220 reservations, the ones that Katie were talking about with those that go on the self-guided tour, they come back and ask questions. She kind of breezed over that quickly. Sometimes it's 2, 3, 4 phone calls of questions. Sometimes it's weeks on end of answering questions with people. So one reservation can take up a tremendous amount of staff time. It speaks volumes of both Chris, Katie, Dan, and many of the recreation staff's time and commitment to serving our residents well, but it's also a lot of work to make those reservations go. And we have a loyal following who want to book years ahead, but we don't allow that. We only do 1 calendar year ahead. So the rolling calendar as it goes throughout the year. So you can imagine come graduation season, we have people waiting outside our door on a Friday morning, a Thursday morning, and a Saturday, well, and a following Monday morning to try to get those weekend reservations taken care of. So big following, really great service. The ELC is very popular. All right, Katie.
And if I can, I'll just speak to that too as well. As he said, sometimes it is multiple phone calls. It's very fun for me when a reservation does come around and I have talked to these people probably 4 or 5 times already. And I can say, oh, Tracy, have a great reservation this weekend. I hope your daughter's wedding is wonderful. And I know them and their story and everything that's going on. That's really an honor and a privilege to enter their story in that way. So it is a lot of work, but it's joyful as well.
I just want to commend the city. I can't count how many times I've been to the ELC, and it's always run well. I'm impressed that the people clean up after themselves well, but the facility is in top shape, and I'm wondering, are you increasingly having to turn away people? It seems the demand has been climbing.
I mean, Katie can talk to it more. We will get people that are parked out front, because you can do it 365 days in advance.
Yeah.
They'll be in front of the building at 4 in the morning, waiting for us to
Wow,
open.
yes.
So you'll get the onesie-twosies trying to fight for time. It's nothing like it has been for any of our recreation, where they would stand in line for 6 hours waiting to get in. But it's 2 or 3 people who will be waiting to get in, and they kind of, amongst themselves, they actually kind of work out their own timing so they can both do it the same day. But Katie, am I close?
Yeah, we did have a few this year where a few came in to book a grad party and the day was already taken. So they had to come back the next weekend, and by the time they came in, the date was already taken and came back again and again. But that's just how it goes sometimes. So we tell them, try to be here at 7 a.m. That's all we can do for you. So it is very popular. And I can say too, right now, most of our weekends are booked all the way through beginning of November. So we are very well stocked going into the fall as well.
Picnic shelters?
Yeah, so for park shelters, it's been obviously a very busy season for us. The park maintenance crew has been very busy keeping up with it. We've had 101 reservations since January 1st. And you can reserve in the winter, in case you were wondering. You are welcome to do that. And 60% of those reservations have been at Hidden Valley Shelter. It is by far the most popular shelter. And that is the one with the fireplace. We do not rent out the one that is by the playground, and I can let Greg or Chris speak to that. But it is definitely the one that people want and get calls about all the time.
As Katie mentioned, we have a second shelter down there that is non-reservable, and that is for the people who want to just go and have a shelter place to go and eat, have a picnic, play on the playground, walk in the park. What was happening in years past is that those people were sitting in the park, the reservable shelter, messing it up, not intentionally, but when we have a reservation that comes in at, let's say, 1 o'clock, and they're in there at 12:30, they're still there, they're having a good time, it comes to be kind of a potentially contentious situation. And so we have very clearly marked a reservation at 1, don't use this shelter, we have a shelter over here for you. That was part of the reason why we put that second shelter in. Been very popular. As Katie mentioned, this whole site is incredibly popular. And all of you know Hidden Valley is one of our gems here in Savage. Our community gardens, Mr. Dill, I'll let you talk about community gardens.
Sure. So this is our 3rd season at Warren Butler Park and our 2nd season at Riverbend. Actually, maybe it's our 4th season at Warren Butler. Again, they're very popular. Warren Butler is very popular. We only have 1 open plot. And everything out there is 9 feet tall. The soil is phenomenal. There are sunflowers that I think are 10 feet tall. It's creepy. They're huge. Riverbend, we did have to do some soil mending this spring. The produce is growing much better. It's not quite to Warren Butler levels, but it is certainly very popular, and it's producing what they're wanting. So I anticipate this not going away anytime soon.
And with the change in state laws, this year we had something we kind of thought about, but we really didn't think it would come to fruition. But
I wasn't going to bring it up.
Well, I'm going to bring it up because it's something that the commissioners need to know, that we have to think about these things. Is somebody just started to grow marijuana in one of our garden plots. And so it wasn't something that we thought was going to be a big deal. We thought maybe somebody might try to do it because it is legal to have it, and there's certain laws. It is not legal to grow it in our community gardens, and we will make sure we highlight and big bold that next year when they sign their agreement for what they can and can't grow in their community garden plots. Did any of you have a garden plot this year? And if I may ask, how did your plot turn out?
Great. Yeah, we have 2 plots actually at Warren Butler, and it's fun. It's another great way to build community, and just a fun way to be outside in the summer.
Excellent. We are looking to do some more creative things around our garden program, where we may bring in some master gardeners, Commissioner Shogren, and others to come in. And if we hear of people who don't know how to garden, if it naturally happens with the person next door to them who has a plot next door and they can work together, that's wonderful. But we're really looking to help people meet each other, grow some food that they maybe not have a chance to grow in their own yard, or even augment their own food budget. There are several other private community gardens in this community, and that's kind of the mission that they have, is to get a place for people to augment their food budget themselves. We're seeing a little bit of that. We want to, we're open to more. These 2 sites can grow if the demand grows. It's a very relatively easy program for us. We till up another lane, mark off some new things, and get some new signs. So it works out really well. Very popular program. We're going to continue with this one into the future. All right, that's our facilities in a nutshell. I'm going to talk briefly about natural resources. Emerald ash borer is the acronym, and EAB is the acronym du jour. It's pretty much everything EAB right now. We have removed the trees in the right of way. ROW stands for right of way. We have removed over 500 trees in that area since our whole process started. We removed some trees, 25, I can't read real well, 25 trees in parks. And these are trees that are in the visible areas, around playgrounds, around shelters, in the more active use areas. We haven't even touched the EAB are often more the natural area. We are letting them go, letting them be. I'm not sure what happened to my presentation, but hopefully it'll pop back up here in a second. But you have it in front of you. We've replanted a bunch of trees. We have not and will not be replanting any trees in the right-of-way. The trees that are planted in right-of-way become city's responsibility. And when the homeowner wants that tree removed, they come to the city to remove it, and that's a cost that everybody in the city has to pay for. So unless intentionally planted within the right-of-way, we're wanting to be planting in the right-of-way and actively discouraging residents to plant in the right-of-way and their own property. So we ask them to plant the trees back in their yard, if that makes sense. We have to remove trees, right now, diseased emerald ash borer ash trees in people's yards, if you will. It's in the right-of-way, so we have to, as a city, take on that responsibility. So what else? There's a lot of public tree monitoring going on. We have about a bunch in good condition, a few in fair condition, and a bunch more on the removal list. So our plan is to continually monitor them, remove trees that are either in that poor or dead condition. We're strategically trying to use our staff and our ICWC, the Institutional Community Work Crew, very strategically. Trees that are easy to take down, easy to dispose of, easy to get to, we will do ourselves. It saves overall taxpayer dollars to do that. When it's a more challenging tree, one that's in a more precarious situation, we hire out the tree experts to come in and do that. They have different equipment than what we have and so on. So we got lots more going on there. The thing that has been brought up at council, just so you're aware of, is council has asked, what about residents who are struggling to take care of their own trees on their own property and remove those diseased trees? If you live anywhere in Savage, you can drive down streets and see dead trees in people's yards. Council is looking very carefully at options, what could be done to assist homeowners with the cost and management of those trees. So we don't have a program yet, but we're looking at what other communities are doing and what that investment would be to help our homeowners to deal with these types of trees. We encourage every single person who is taking down a tree to come to our tree sale and buy a new tree, or visit one of your local tree nurseries in the area and buy trees from our local brick and mortar stores. We want trees in our neighborhoods and in our residential areas as much as we want them in our parks. Let's see. The treatment program has been going really well. We treat our trees on city property that are ash trees, and residents have been treating them. The concern is that it's a long-term commitment. If you do it 1 year and expect that tree to survive in perpetuity, that's not going to happen. They're not even guaranteeing anymore, if you do treat the trees, that they will survive. What we know is that there are many trees that are surviving. I'll tell you anecdotally, in my neighborhood, every house had an ash tree in their front yard. Mine died years ago. My neighbors just just died this last year, and it went dead quick. Neighbor on the other side of me has a beautiful, fully leafed out ash tree. He's been treating his for about, 6 years, and the rest of us have not. And so that's something to be aware of. The city sponsors that program. Traditionally, our contractor has been Rainbow Tree Care, and we negotiate a price that we get for our treating of our trees, and we extend that same treatment price to the residents here in Savage. And we do it in collaboration with Prior Lake as well.
Greg,
Yes.
we treat our ash tree. It's probably the only one left on the road. Lots of dead trees.
Yep.
And I do catch people stopping to look at the little thing nailed to the tree. They're like, what is on your tree?
I got
alive.
5 of them I've been treating since 2017.
Wow.
They're big.
Yeah.
It's expensive, but
Well, it's cheaper than a new tree.
Cost to remove
then
them.
to remove them.
Yeah.
Yeah, we've heard stories from some residents, depending on the size of the tree, the location of the tree, how to get the tree out of their backyard, so on, in the neighborhood of tens of thousands of dollars, so $10,000, $15,000, $20,000 to remove those trees. And that's just, that's unbearable for a lot of people. So again, why the city is going to be looking at some options. Moving on with our natural resources report, we have a solar panel program that we applied for a grant. We're going to be putting some solar panels on another city building. We currently have solar panels on the ELC. We are going to continue with this and try to see if this can help us and defray our cost of energy use, and looking at some alternative sources. Our council has strongly encouraged us to do this. So the water treatment plant 2 will have some solar panels installed on it later this year. The panels are not to augment or offset the cost of energy in producing the water. It is in the office space and the spaces around that. We want to make sure we're not messing with that energy for producing water. That's just way too important. But we're going to try it in the office space there. And if it works well, we may extend this to other places within the city. How we're paying for it, it's about a $100,000 program, project, I should say. $60,000-ish are coming from a grant that requires to have a 60% match. So a $100,000 grant, or a $100,000 project, $60,000 is funded through this grant. Another $30,000-ish is coming from the federal funds, and then the city is kicking in $10,000. We believe that the return on this investment will be within 3 years. That's what we're hoping for. That's what we've been told, and that's what we're projecting. So we believe that this is going to be potentially a really good thing for us to go into. Yep, the city moves a little slower. Some places move a lot faster. These are tax dollars. We want to use them wisely. We don't want to invest into something that could go away really quickly. We want to think carefully, thoughtfully, and that's why it seems to take us a little longer to do it. And then storm pond maintenance, this is coming directly from Jesse Carlson, our water resource manager. I just had a young kid in the office today, and he was talking about, he was taking a tour of Public Works, and they said, why do you have to go dig out the ponds? Well, that's one of our big things we do, is we dig out all the sediment in the ponds. And where does the sediment come from? It's things kids don't think about. But we have an active program in maintaining our storm ponds, and not only is that in dredging them and keeping the water basin itself working well, it's also the surrounding area around the pond, the buffer. We have to keep woody vegetation out of there so the grasses and the right kind of vegetation grows in those areas so that it filters the water as it's coming over land into that pond. It filters it right. And so it's an active program. We have well over 300 storm ponds that we have to maintain. It's a very costly investment, and we are playing a lot of catch-up right now. Jesse has done a fantastic job of prioritizing which storm ponds need to be maintained, and we do it in collaboration with Jesse at Public Works. So city staff, mostly crews from our street maintenance, when they're not doing as much street maintenance, they jump into the storm ponds. We also use our institutional community work crew to go out and do a lot of the tree removal and vegetation removal as well. So lots going on in natural resources. Last couple of things for you is we're in the process of hiring our natural resources coordinator / technician position. As I mentioned, Jonah moved to Hawaii. Hello, Jonah, if you're watching us from Hawaii. The position has posted and it was closed back in August, a little bit earlier in August, and the interviews are being set up now. We hope to have somebody on by October. It's a process to get them on board. Some other highlights. Let's see, the city manages several other areas throughout the community. If you notice some of our natural areas in our active use parks, like at Community Park behind the Environmental Learning Center, those are actually natural prairie biomes, looking at what the natural areas of Savage looked like before it was established as a growing community. So we keep those as natural as we can. You can't just have a natural area and have it look the same from year to year to year to year. They change and evolve over time. Woody species grow, become a forest, and then those plants get choked out. Back in the day when we were all fields and prairies and forests in the United States, they could just move. Those species would move to another area and keep growing and developing. For us to have these areas, we need to maintain them. So in collaboration with our own city staff, as well as hiring out contractors, excuse me, they come out and help us manage our natural areas throughout the city. More to come on this into the future. You'll learn more about this as we expand our natural resources presentation to you, but we wanted to give you at least a taste of what we're doing for natural resources. And with that was a long presentation, but hopefully a good and informative one. What kind of questions do you have for Chris, Katie, or myself?
Commissioner Peterson.
Have we evaluated the success of the Clover experiment, or is that still an ongoing effort?
The Clover experiment.
Oh, down at, it's an ongoing process. The Chair, Commissioner Peterson, what she's referring to is the grass that we planted or the seeds that we planted near the archery range down at Community Park, or sorry, at Hidden Valley Park. And we have not had a full season of that yet to be able to say success, failure, or not. So far, it's looking good. We've had to mow a little bit less. It's maintaining the traffic, the foot traffic of the archers, that area. So we'll continue to evaluate that as we go forward.
Thank you.
Thank you. Other questions? Anybody?
No, very comprehensive.
Yeah, thank all three of you for this incredibly comprehensive report. It's really fun to see all the things that the department is doing and accomplishing and focusing on. So thank you. That was great. Anybody have anything else? Well, did you have anything else, Mr. Boatman?
I do. I have an update for you and a couple
All right,
questions.
let's.
Katie has been sending you oodles of emails over the last month, and one of them was about our Highway 13 Visual Quality Committee. I know we had many of you submit that you'll be willing to step up and be a part of this committee. Did any of you get selected for that committee? Great. Have you had a meeting yet on that?
Yes.
Do you mind sharing with us a little bit about what you're doing and what you're learning?
Sure. It was, we had, it was meeting 2 of the committee. There were 19, 20 people on there, City of Savage, Burnsville, MnDOT, Scott County, ex-Mayor Janet on behalf of the Historical Society. That was interesting hearing her talk. I did not know that Highway 13 was originally along McCall and Williams Drive. And then they were talking, because they were focused on the visual. I don't want to let you chime in. The perspective of from Nicollet to Buffalo Tap.
Quinton?
Dakota.
And Dakota. I guess you can say Dakota all the way, yeah. So they are, I guess they would be, it's MnDOT, and then taking into consideration, I would guess, what you will be currently, now I'm taking note of, like when you're driving east and west, and how that will potentially change with overpasses and such with the road, they don't have a final plan yet. So they're taking those things into consideration, considering some of the historical sites. And then just some of the things that, like the Dakota Bridge, if you do drive underneath that, it is interesting some of the minor aesthetics that they've done with the concrete work. So it's just not plain concrete. So they do have built into the budget some things for how some of these things look aesthetically. You'll notice at some overpasses there'll be wrought iron artwork and stuff like that. So I think that what we'll get to is, like, the city of, they will be deciding if it's a cohesive visual aesthetic, if there's things that are occurring like in the ports area or in historic downtown Savage versus Burnsville. And the pure linear aspect of it, basically from Menards to Dakota, was, if you think about it, we drive there all the time and, you're like, oh yes, it's a real long straight line. So I don't know if you have anything else to.
Yeah, just a little recap was like they talked about how to, like you said, make it cohesive from Dakota all the way to Highway 5, and they talked about like a lot of people drive through Highway 13 there in Savage and not even knowing you're going through Savage, like, oh well, I'm just going 13. So adding landmarks that would identify that this is like downtown Savage, or talked about how Highway 5 bridge has like Burnsville markings on it and such, maybe adding that over the bridges through Savage and such.
Was there any mention of above or below grade crossings?
we haven't gotten to that yet. Because that's what caught my eye is on the initial read of what was going to be happening from a mobility pedestrian aspect. I mean, they talked about things like lighting and such, so that's encompassed in here. I'm hoping we get to the point of, okay, how's a pedestrian gonna interact? Because you do see folks, especially like at Nicollet and 13 crossing because we're through that interchange a lot, and it's dangerous. And I can imagine the same thing happening probably at Washburn and,
Lynn?
well, if Lynn, if you've seen one of the plans, Lynn will, depending on what kind of interchange that is. Yeah, I'm curious I didn't want to like interject that seed.
Let us know when you know where.
I was asking questions. Ex-mayor Janet Williams was asking questions, and I'm like, I'll step back.
Thank you, commissioners. We really appreciate you giving of your time to be on this and representing the Parks, Recreation, and Natural Resource Commission, as well as your residency and your neighbors and so on. As we go throughout the season, if you have updates, just shoot me an email ahead of time of one of our meetings, and I'll make sure I let the chair know that we'll just even have a time for updates for you. So I'm not putting you on the spot like I did tonight. You maybe will give us a little bit more of an update.
Thank you for the opportunity.
You bet. Also coming up, we have our community development bus tour. I know that we may have one person signed up so far. If others are interested, it's Wednesday, October 1st from 5 to 7 p.m. That'll include a walking tour of downtown Savage, the Gallery Project, which is out in South Savage, which is a large apartment complex, Creek Hill Park. I'm going to give a little update on that park, what we've done out there, and then South Park Drive improvements and more. This is for all the commissions. It is sponsored by our Community Development Department and the Economic Development Commission, as well as the Planning Commission. You guys and several others are welcome to attend. So if you are interested, please RSVP back to Katie no later than September 2nd. The reason why we need that lead time is because if we get a good response, we have to get a different kind of bus for our tour. I would encourage you to go if you ever wanted to learn more about Savage and look at all of this from a parks and natural resource perspective. When we do Gallery, the apartment complex, how does that impact? When we do South Park Drive, how does that impact? A lot of those types of things are great things to educate yourself on of the ongoing projects as well as future projects that are to come. And then also coming up on September 2nd, we have our library mural ribbon cutting ceremony. If you've noticed as you drive out tonight, look over at the library on the new addition part. The mural is mostly, if not all the way done, but it looks really cool. From 5:30 to 6:30 p.m., we're going to have a ribbon cutting ceremony. That is pre-council meeting, so the council members and the mayor will be there. And then at that same time, we will be also unveiling the peace pole that is located over at the library and the 2 benches and the new concrete pad that it's sitting on. If you get a chance to go over there, you'll see the concrete pad. We think it's going to be a nice amenity to have at the library. The Rotary was so generous in donating the benches and as well as the peace pole to that location. Another kind of a peaceful area to go and reflect, contemplate, read a book, or sit and have lunch. So those are things that are coming up. And with that, I'll stand for any questions.
Thank you, Mr. Boatman. Does anybody have questions? Comments? All right. Well, thank you, everyone, for this full informational meeting after being absent for a couple months. Our next meeting will be Monday, September 7th. And with that, our meeting is adjourned.